Welcome to the second video in my Logic Pro mixing tips and tricks series. This video is on gain staging. On the face of it, gain staging could be simpler. You ensure that you feed an appropriate level from the first stage of your signal path into the next and repeat this from second stage to third and so on. All the way from your instrument through the mix to the final stereo mix. Appropriate, this should be a good level that we can work on, ample level, which ensures a healthy signal to noise ratio. Difference between the wanted signal and the actual noise floor, which leaves enough headroom for us to mix, but it's not clipping. So this can be difficult to obtain. So we have to do this at every stage through the mix. So I guess how I approach it is to start with a very conservative level that gives me room to do whatever I need to do with the mix and make whatever mixing decisions I need to, without having to fear that I'm gonna start clipping or I'm gonna push that level too hard. So takeaways from this: keep the levels down, make sure you're recorded at a good acceptable level to start with. Don't overcook it by boosting levels too much with any of the processing that you do. And I guess let's have a look at where gain staging fits into my workflow. If you enjoy this, please subscribe, and we'll flick over to Logic Pro now and start the actual gain staging process. So we previously set this up with the track routing that we wanted, the instrument buses, etc. This is, as I said before, going to cover the initial gain staging step of mixing. You're going to do this process a few times throughout your mix, but this is how I start. So I've played the track through once. You can see the peak levels over here. So some of these buses are hitting plus 3.8, but we get minus 0.1 on the kick and the snare, etc. So if you check those out, we're going to aim for a peak of minus 10. So it says to, well, they say, whoever they are, say to aim for an average of kind of minus 18 dB, but with a peak of 10. We're just going to work on the peaks for the minute, but if you want to take this a little bit further, you can take a look into this. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to highlight all the stereo tracks. So I'm going to command and click anything that's stereo. And what I'm going to do, we're going to put the gain plugin, but you'll find it down in utility, gain, and on here we've got the stereo one. And we'll shut that down for a sec. So we've now got all our stereo tracks. So now pick all the mono tracks, or highlight all the mono tracks. We're going to drop, or you can just, you know where it is, monos, mono track, or mono gain plugin on those tracks, should I say. So now all of our tracks have got a gain plugin. We can use that. Now I'm using a free plugin, a VU meter. I'm going to use a free plugin. It's this one here. So it's from a company called TB Pro Audio, and it's their MV Meter 2 plugin. It's free of charge. So go and download that. tb-software.com, but I'll put the link in the description below. I'm going to put that on my stereo out. As I said before, we're going to try and use stock or free plugins where possible. That just makes it a little bit more accessible for everyone. There's pointless me going through this mix process using UAD plugins or iZotope or something like that you haven't got. We might use it as a reference point to show you what it does, but then hopefully as we go through the series I'll show you ways to get that out of the stock plugins in Logic. So now what we're going to do is play this track through again. Actually, I'm not. I'm lying. We're going to look at these mono tracks. The actual, well, not so much mono, but the instrument tracks. So we've got the kick, got that at minus 0.1. Now we want a peak of minus 10. So we can just run through snares the same, minus 0.1. 0.1. heads, same again. So I'm not touching the buses for a minute. Minus 0.1 on the base. Minus 0.1 on the guitars as well. Makes the maths pretty easy. Fiddle 0.1. Obviously it's not always going to be the same. Minus 0.2. We've actually got a difference, but we'll still go minus 10. The lead vocals, same again. So now what I'm going to do is play this track through it again, and then we're going to keep an eye on what the peak levels are and what we need to adjust on the buses, and then paying a sort of attention to the music bus, which is all of our instrumentation, the combined buses, the instruments into the bus, so the drums into the bus is going to have a higher peak level than the instruments on their own. Again, the combined buses into the music bus, the instrumentation bus, again, that's going to have a higher peak again. So we need to control everything at these points. So I'm going to play it through again, and then we'll adjust those accordingly. Right, so we can see here on the drums bus, it's minus 6.2. So minus 3.8 on that. Bass bus has only got the bass going into it, so that's going to be the same at the moment. But if we add more bass tracks, double that, thicken it, that may change. So you might need to sort of gain stage that bass bus at a later date. Guitar bus minus 7.2. So let's go minus 2.8. Strings is the same as the bass. We've only got the fiddle. Keys is the same as well. We've only got the piano. So minus 10.2, minus 10.1. Vox again, only got the lead vocal at the moment, so we don't need to amend that. And we did notice that the music bus minus 3.7. So we have adjusted the other buses, so that's going to come down a bit. So let's do a minus 5 on that. Now what we're going to do, play it through again, and we'll see where our levels are then. What I'm also going to do, let's bring up this VU meter now. So this VU meter is reference level calibrated at minus 18. So minus 18 dB is effectively the 0 point. So this will give us a good indication of where we're sitting to start the mix with. And I'll start to play that back now, and you can see. What I can also do is push this back up now.
Well, I woke up this morning, looked out my door. I could tell my milk cow, I could tell by the way she lows. If you see my milk cow, please drive her on home. 'Cause I ain't had no milk and butter since that cow's been gone. Oh, well, you've gotta treat me right, baby, day by day. Get out your little prayer book, get down upon your knees and pray, 'cause you're gonna need me. You're gonna need my help someday. Oh, you're going to be wondering why you treated me this way. Sail on, sail on, sail on, little guy, sail on. Yeah, yeah, sail, sail on, sail on, sail on, little guy, sail on. Why don't you keep right on a sailing till you lose your happy home? Oh, well, I tried everything, baby, just to get along with you. And now I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do. Well, I'm gonna stop my crying and leave you alone. And if you don't think I'm leaving, Big Daddy, just count those little girls. You ain't gonna see me. You ain't gonna see my sweet face no more. Milk cow blue.
Right, so you can see from that actually we've now got a fairly balanced sort of leveled mix. Nothing's too hot. It's going to leave us loads of room to make our mixing decisions and play with compressors and EQ and stuff like that later. Some instruments you are going to want to be quieter, some instruments you are going to want to hear more of, but this just gives you the initial setting point for the volumes. I think overall it sounds a little bit more balanced already. So if you found this useful and you like the video, please subscribe, and in the next video we'll be covering the initial sort of EQ settings to kind of carve out some space for each instrument. Hope you'll stay safe, and I'll speak to you soon.